my screen.
Quickly introduce Rafael since Katy won't be able to join us today. Katy met Rafael through Conexión and through, I think, just a very interesting conversation, knew that Rafael had a particular interest around social networking and had started a club at MIT, his alma mater, around social networking. So very interesting fellow, and happy to have you on the forum today.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Peter, for the invitation. It's great to have to be here to talk to you a little bit about social network. I think social network have been a hot topic for the last few years, and still there are more questions than answers. So today I will try just to give very brief overview because we don't have much time, and I think this topic requires many hours of great discussions. But however, I will give you a flavor of a different approach. This is the approach that we were discussing when I was doing my master in management and engineering at MIT. And we had that great discussion. Actually, we were creating a course. We were a student, but we were teaching a course, so that's great. And here I'm gonna give you a flavor of that. So please stop me anytime. Ask me question. I think the good thing of this is having discussion. I have a slide for 40 minutes, but it's okay. Ask me question. I prefer to see what are your thoughts and how do you perceive this content better than just having a monologue. Okay, so I will go briefly on overview. Definition, evolution, and challenges is the basic. Then I will tell you a little bit what were the need for creating an MIT social media club, and also the few takeaways. So if you decide to start using social media for your career. So what is social networks? Social network is something that when you ask somebody, everybody tell you, oh, this is Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and more recently Web Social, Chatter, or Yammer. However, I would say that that's true, this is social network, but more like computing social network tools, because I think social network is something that the term had not been using much among general population, mostly for sociologists and researchers. But I think social network is something as simple as a family, as a group of friends, neighbors, people from the same company, people from the same community or town, or even people from the same country. They are social network because they bond each other, they establish relationship, personal relationship. So this is how we perceive social network. And this is very easy to manage because I have my friend Robert, who is friend with my coworker. They meet in the school. My boss now my sister. So this is the kind of conversation that we have, the vocabulary that we use in order to relate those connections. When you go to a restaurant, you meet somebody, and we establish a new connection, and then you find 3 weeks later, and you kind of establish this connection, and you grow your network as long as you advance your life. However, this is the way we visualize social networks. For this, you need a computer. For the previous one, you don't need, but here you need a computer. And this is another conversation. You see, oh, I didn't know that my friend John is very well connected with my coworkers. I didn't know that. Interesting. Then you can say, okay, we can even analyze. So, for example, here in this picture, if you can see down this picture, you can see that there is a lot of density here. And maybe this is your company, and maybe this is your family, and this is people from your gym. So, and you see that it's very particular. People from your company is very well connected to people from your school. So you can have some thoughts, and that maybe makes sense. And this is a real network. Actually, this is my personal network, my professional network at LinkedIn. All my more than 500 connections are here. And there is a very interesting tool. If you have LinkedIn, I recommend you to use it. This is in Maps. So the tool pull all the information, and you can see all your connection and how they are aggregated. So you can see here on the bottom, on the left, all my MIT network. And you can see that it's very well connected. It's very dense. Everybody is connected to everybody. Also, I believe have more than 70 connections at Cisco. However, they don't conform a cluster. Why? I do believe because probably I'm joining several groups at Cisco, like Connection, like for example, I interact with people from different business units, and maybe that's the reason because they are not connected. So if I would be working more in engineering development, probably I will have my buddies, and probably I will have a cluster, but we don't have it. So this is interesting. Maybe in a few years, that's grow. So what does picture have in common? Well, according to the definition of social network, this is a set of nodes and ties between these nodes. So this is a theory from social graph and graph theory, where we have nodes that can be people, but also can be company or countries, and also the relationship between the different nodes. So one important question here is, how do you establish the weight of those relationships? How do you measure? Because everyone is different. Every relationship that I have, I don't talk to my father in the same way that I talk to my brother, to my boss, or to my friends. So how do you measure this? And this is where one of the parameters that allow us to measure, and it's very popular today, we call influence. Influence is a very hot topic today. There are many companies like Cloud and many others that try to measure how is the influence of people. For example, before we used to use for politicians, how is the influence? So we use some kind of media to test the audience on TV, on radio. But what is the influence? How can we measure influence in digital? So in digital is different, and there is a study, Altimeter Group, who was doing a lot of research on this, and they define that digital influence has the ability to create an effect, change opinion or behavior, but be able to measure the outcome of this online. So this is a point where if you are a leader or you are a manager professional, you want to measure what is your influence on your group, and also your digital influence, you have to look to the different pillars of influence, and see how you can measure this. It's very hard to measure the influence. It's something that we perceive, but in digital we kind of can do it. Don't confuse this with what we call social capital. Social capital is more related to how many friends I have in LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, how many followers, how much content I provide, how many replies, how many likes we do in Facebook, right? So I don't know if you have any question at that point here before continuing the discussion.
So,
Yeah, Rafael, it's Pete. Oh, sorry. Go on, Angela.
no, I was just going to ask, so what you're saying is that influence is kind of an intangible, but you can actually, by looking at proximity, goodwill, popularity, there is a correlation with those things and your ability to influence. So influence can therefore be measured. Is that the takeaway from this?
Yeah, because the influence, even though without the word digital, influence is actually you provide actually you inspire the people to make an action, but with an intangible or indirect effect, and more related to long term. When you influence somebody, you teaching somebody, probably this person come back to you like 10 years later and say, oh, this advice that you give to me, actually I really appreciate. So influence is very hard to measure, and however, many companies today, they want to capture, because Cisco want to know how is the influence that the brand is doing on customer, how my product is influencing customer. So we do believe that those kind of parameters like resonance, the frequency, advertisement do this. They do many times, so they kind of in some way influence you to buy the products. Also sometimes proximity. If your friend buy a car and it's working for them, they recommend you, or this restaurant. And also authority. If somebody have an authority like IEEE on this material, so you believe them, because it's something that actually when we check on internet, the first thing that we do, we check the URL, is it official or not, then we check many other parameters in the website. Actually, when we were teaching at MIT, one of the experiments that we did and was fascinating was putting all the students for 10 minutes look on the website a few questions to ask to a doctor in the case that they find that their parents have Alzheimer. That was amazing because in 10 minutes you can visit more than 50 or 60 websites. And the point is, when we stopped the exercise, we asked questions to the students, and they didn't know what are the criteria that they were using in order to find their information. And then what we did, we asked them to look to the to the history of the search on the browser, and try to analyze why they were jumping from one site to another. And they were surprised why they made this decision in very short time, based on the URL, the trust. They went to Wikipedia, then they went to official website from the government health care. They went also some kind of website that they didn't have authority, but people post some kind of feelings, like they went to the community website. So it's interesting, and I recommend you to do this exercise, because when you really care about something like the health of your parents and you look some information on internet, you are making a lot of decisions very quick. So, and then you can break down on those parameters.
Okay.
I think, Peter, do you have a question?
Yeah, it was a similar one, and it goes back to one of your previous slides. I think the third slide you showed regarding the connections and your connections at MIT and whatever. I think the comment I was going to raise was, this shows your connections, but does it show your usage?
This one?
The previous one.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. This shows, really good with the connections at MIT and the purple and the blue there. But what about the usage of your network? Does this show, or is there any way of showing how well you've used your network?
No. This is this picture have a bias. This is show you the structure, but not the dynamics.
Yeah.
The dynamic you can find, and for example, if you go to Cloud, you can put your name. You can see how active you are on Twitter and Facebook. Yeah. You can combine with other resources. There is a lot of research at MIT. They are doing like visualization of networks to detect, for example, political crisis. They are using for many things. Only with Twitter you can actually you can anticipate and many events, because but it's something that as a personal use is something that we can start, and it's fascinating. I did this like 2 years ago, and I still, every time that I look my network, and I do every 3-4 months I do a new picture because it's changing. Yeah. And this is, for example, I'm living here in California only for 1.5 years, and I can see I'm from Spain actually. I can see already a small cluster of people from Spain that we are connecting here. So this is it surprised me. So it's a start point, but I believe in the next few years we're going to have a lot of visualization tool that is going to tell us about us and about our network. So I'm looking for that. Okay. Any other question? Okay, let me continue. I don't know how much time do I have?
If you could finish at about 22 the hour, is that okay?
Okay, so that means
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay, yeah, I have time. Okay, so let's go back to the previous picture. Okay, so this is the people on my network, and the management of my network is very easy, because I go to the gym, I talk to them. I go to my work, I talk to them. I go to my house, talk to my family, with my relatives, and this is very easy. However, how can I manage a network if it does increase? This is very hard, right? We have a bunch of people now. How can I manage this connection in order to maintain my social network healthy for the long run? This is very hard. What about if they are across the world? Like today, everybody is living everywhere, moving. The globalization bring us those challenges. How can I keep in touch with them and don't lose those connections? So we need tools. In order to maintain those communication, those social network, those relationship between the nodes, we need tools, and we need communication tools, and more precisely, we need social communication tools, because we are no devices. We are human beings, so we establish social relationships. So let me tell you an evolution of the communication tools that the people have been using across the history. The first time that human beings start communicating was when the hominids moved to the Africa savanna. Before, they used to live in the trees like their cousin, the chimpanzee and gorilla. But then when they moved to the Africa savanna, they didn't have the trees, so they couldn't be any more individual. They should be more. They should collaborate in order to survive in this environment. So how can they collaborate if they don't talk So they start using a tool like emotions. They start communicating by emotion. This is a very interesting book about this from a professor from University of California. It's very interesting. I recommend this reading. So, and they say that the brain of the human experimented an evolution that was required in order to be able to adapt to emotions. So they communicate, they collaborate. That was the first time that humans start collaborating each other in order to sort it out a threat. Then they start talking to each other. And Noam Chomsky is a researcher from MIT, studied the language. He approached the language as a tool in order to communicate each other. Then we have word of mouth. People start talking, spread out the news from town to town by telling stories, like Seglar, for example. Then people say, okay, we need something else. We need actually to communicate, but not today. We need to communicate over the time. What I say today, I want people to read tomorrow. So people start writing and learn how to write, okay, at the beginning in the stone, then they use the paper, but then say, okay, I cannot write on the stone, the paper all the time. I need something else because I want to send to several cities. So they start printing. This is a new tool, allow them to duplicate what I write, what I say, what I communicate with my network, so I can influence them. And this is very interesting because people start writing books. And I don't know if you remember the name of the rose from Umberto Eco, the book. This is a very interesting story about how a library at that time was like an important tool of influence, right? And they hide some of the books. Then we start actually writing not books, but we start writing every day, like a newspaper. And still today, many politicians and people very influential, they communicate with their audience and their population through the newspaper, right? And also propaganda for war. Then we start communicating one-to-one, no broadcasting, just people start sending mails. Then we have the opportunity to send not only letters, but also our voice. Then the radio, which is broadcasting, and this is many politicians have been using this to influence their population. With the TV, you can believe it how that's impacting the family network actually, because everybody start absorbing the information from the TV, but they cannot talk to the TV. So that's changed the way that we consume the information and that we socialize, right? We align to at the same time people who provide some content on TV. Then for business, we start using the typewriter, the fax, and today the computer. We use email. And this is the tool that we are using today. It's great. We can communicate each other. We can work in distance. But what is the problem here today? We want more. It's not enough. Email is not enough. People are saying that email is not working anymore. It's like we receive in our company many emails. It's very hard to track all those relationships. And people say it's better to stop in the coffee machine in my company and start socializing my ideas with my coworker instead of so many emails, So that's the reason, because we need new tools, and there are some challenges. In the business area, we have, for example, challenge like people work in different places of the world. Also, yes, you have a question? Okay. Any questions so far? Stop me anytime if you something that need clarification. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, good then. Okay, so travel costs is what's important. We want to save money traveling. We need new tools, and there are some challenges. In the business area, we have, for example, challenge like people work in different places of the world. Also, yes, you have a question? Okay. Any questions so far? Stop me anytime if you something that need clarification. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, good then. Okay, so travel costs is what's important. We want to save money traveling, and at Cisco, we are very good by providing those collaboration tools. Also, people, they don't even want to travel another city. People don't want to travel to the work place. They want to work from home because this is a work-life balance, because they spend their commute time working. Is something that working from home is great. At the same time, we need other tools. Email is not enough, because sometimes manager and leader, they're actually blind. They cannot see everything. They have to trust on other people, because they can know there is a lot of business, a lot of conversations, so they need a team they trust in order to to delegate some tasks. Sometimes the team are also blind. They are in trouble. So they need a new way to understand what is happening in the company. At the same time, productivity is very important, and you can see a manager cannot communicate efficiently with more than 6 people reporting to him, to her. This is very hard, and sometimes you need a communication with different in different level of the structure, right? Because employees want to have visibility with the leaders, and leaders want to know what's going on in the operations. So we need a new structure actually, but the mails doesn't provide this structure. We need kind of smell what's going on in my group. So for that reason, we need new social tool that using computer allow us to kind of track this. The same challenge we have at the university at MIT. We had the same situation, and there were a lot of silos between department, between professor and a student. We discovered in 2010 that we need something actually to collaborate often. Also, it's interesting. If you see here, this is the MIT campus. We can find in Cisco, there are many buildings, and people here in this side is the school, business school student who communicate they are very good with networking. They know a lot of people and they manage themselves very well. They are very connected, very dense network. And then here in the west side of the campus, we have more engineering, all the PhD student. Probably a PhD student at MIT, their social network is very small. Maybe their mentor, their supervisor, their girlfriend, and a couple of friends. So it's very different, right? And then we were thinking how we can benefit from people who have very dense network, like business people in the MBA with the PhD student, because they should be together. They should work together. They should create cross-disciplinary project, because challenge today they require more collaboration between different disciplines. And also not only this, if you see here, this is the Cambridge. MIT is very close, actually separate with the industry, many startup by one street, Kendall, and also in Kendall Square. Also it's 1 mile from Harvard. So how we foster this collaboration between entrepreneurs, venture capital, academy, industry, faculty, students, staff, and different types. So we thought that social media is a right tool actually to use this, and we started using. And we had many questions, and nobody could answer our question. There was not such a organization or group at MIT who could answer our question. So what we did was just create a club, and let's say, okay, let's create a club, and let's solve this problem. Let's put people to talk from different disciplines to see how we can use social media to solve this problem. And we create a collaborative platform environment to create to start this conversation. Not only this, we start teaching. Actually, in MIT, one of the things that you can do is that you have good topic, you can create a syllabus, a content, and you can find a professor who will sponsor your course, and you are a student, but you are teaching. And we were teaching a 40 hours course. This is all the students, and we were sponsored by the director of the MIT H Lab. And we didn't teach about Facebook or Twitter. We didn't do this approach. Many other companies we were doing that at that time. We were thinking how this is going to affect to healthcare industry, to finance, how this is going to help to, for example, to organization, for development, for group learning. So we were beyond the marketing stuff that we were listening every day about social media is marketing. No, social media is many other things, but also marketing. So public trust, how people trust on your government, or how you make decision when you want to buy some products, or you're going to choose a hospital. How do you trust on social media comments, feedback from people talking about, what about you are sick, and instead of going to doctor, you start reading the night before some posts about people. So who do you trust? Mm-hmm. So this is the kind of conversation we have at MIT.
Hey, Rafael?
Yes?
Can you go back 2 slides? I just want to, one more, please.
Okay.
So is that you on the left with the...
Yeah, this is me actually, here on the left. And this is the other co-founder, Asamat. We were a student in the same program, and we decided, actually that was the day of the foundation, we started discussing on the board what is social media, because everybody was telling us, oh, social media has nothing to do with business. This is a game. People go to Facebook and talk to their friend, and this is a game. This is not. We cannot take seriously this. Professor, faculty, they were telling us, don't take seriously. This is marketing, just to advertise main products. And we were really sure that this was not true. That this was going to revolutionize many other industry and companies. But so we start putting together kind of the forum in order to have discussion. So that was a lot. That was a lot of fun, actually. Let me
5 minutes, Rafael.
Okay, so let me. This is one of the approach that we used to teach the different in the different scenarios. We were analyzing a lot. We was 40 hours of plenty of discussion. Our students were very interesting. One only student from MIT. The good thing is that in MIT, when you create a course, you can invite people from industry, also staff, some other people. Most of the students, you can see here in the picture, most of the students, people are related to communication managers, also people from the industry. That was a lot of fun because actually we get a good group and great discussion. And here is we did a survey, so people put some of the work, and this is something that we draw. People thought that social media is about passion, it's a local global, it's a symbiosis, experiment. It's sometimes somebody say getting naked, because in social media you need to show who you really are. So you need to have a strategy. It's all about learning by doing. You need to be patient. Consistency is very important. Be inclusive. Act. So that's kind of thing. The approach, also we were looking about learning dialogue, the power of shared knowledge. People say that this is the power of knowledge. Today is the power of sharing, right? The one who share more is the one who is more influential. People who have a lot of knowledge and they don't put in a wiki, they put on their email, on their hard drive, and they wait you for call them to give you information. This strategy is not working anymore. In company, if you put all your knowledge in a website, in a wiki, so everybody can access, you save time, so you can spend your time in other more interesting things. So you are smart. That be just a gateway to the information. But this is kind of some of the approach that we were discussing. So this is a very interesting book that I recommend to you. And this is when we were discussing about organizational development. Actually, there's a professor from MIT who said that they create the term of collective intelligence, who say that a group of individuals doing the things collectively seem intelligent. So what does it mean? That means that if you have a team of a bunch of people with not much knowledge, but they work together very, very closely, the result is much better than if you have a very small group of experts. So this is something that you can use if you are managing a group or a team in your company. It's something that providing those tools to them and I think can help to increase the intelligence of the group as a whole. This is and think again about the beginning of the beginning when the hominid or ancestral start collaborating with emotions in order to survive, right? Now it's the same thing. We have some economical challenge in the world, so we can collaborate to improve. Also, it's important to use social media because actually this is a study from Cisco. Actually, they came out yesterday, and I found very interesting this piece of data. And they say that people start actually talking more online than in person. So this is fascinating. I don't know if this is good, this is bad. There are a lot of discussion here. But the thing is that people have different personality online. So what does it mean? That maybe your team, the people who you interact every day, they are different online. They are maybe shy to raise their hand in a meeting, right? And now if you create a forum, a community or in Web Social, and you start asking questions, maybe people who are very shy to talk in public, they are very active, and you will be surprised. They online, they are great. They provide great links to information, piece of data that is good for the business. So I invite you to if you didn't do yet, create your community on Web Social. Also, you can create in LinkedIn or start participating. Listening is very important at the beginning, and now your network from another point of view. From the digital point of view, you will be surprised how fascinating it is. Also, you don't want to miss this wave, right? This is it's already going on. Everybody's doing. So you don't want to be a late adopter, right? Because all the leaders across the history, they have been very influential because they knew very well the tools. There are politicians that big leaders, they use very well the radio and the TV. And they actually, many CEO of the company, they take acting class. So when they go on TV or they go on the video, corporative video, they know how to engage and influence and also inspire the audience. So they know very well the channel of communication. They know that is key. The way you communicate is key. So don't know this tool probably in an earlier stage can be can create a change on the environment that you are working. So in summary, what I say here is this, the computing social network tools like all they mentioned before in Facebook and web social and things like that, they are not a revolution itself, like people say. If you look for a historic perspective, it's an evolution, and it's an evolution. I think it's good to use it. What is the benefit? This is the right place to show trust, to be able to influence, and show transparency, which is the value that today people start considering very important when they follow a leader, not manager. Manager is different than a leader. A leader is somebody who inspires, who is able to change the path of a career of people. All the people. It's more long term. It's intangible. It's more about feelings, and it's there because there are people who are able to risk for your ideas. So I think this is important to consider. And finally, why should adopt this? Because as I said before, it's very efficient. It's very efficient channel of communication. So how to start? If you didn't do yet, I recommend you, and you think this is interesting for your career, I recommend you to start practicing listening. For example, open your Facebook account, start creating your group in web social, exploring, listening. Sometimes you will find yourself talking to yourself because nobody joined your community, but be patient. Wait the time. In the worst case, it's a communication with yourself. You post the links of interesting article on the internet, and then you have a repository, right? You have an archive. Also, the good thing, I think a blog is very important. I create a blog. This is here on the bottom on the left. This is my blog actually, and I don't know how many readers I have. Before I used to track, but now I do this because this is a way for me to understand how my professional life is changing. So sometimes I read my own posting from the past, so I know where I'm going, what I was. How does happen? This is the picture that we create when we create the club at MIT, and we discovered that influence in career is all about future. We are creating our future, and sometimes by posting something already about what are you doing in your work in your blog or something related to your professional career, is keeping the past. But what we realize is the past connect to the future. So social media actually make bigger the connection between past and future, because somebody can read your post in the past and make a connection with you in the future. So that was what we discovered. That was the outcome of our social media club. So, and that's it. Do you have any question here?
Rafael, that was very, very interesting. Thank you. I must admit, I'm a bit of a Luddite when it comes to the social media side of things. I have these accounts, but I never use them because I'm scared.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe I should. You never know. Or maybe it's just an age thing. I don't know.
I like the acceptance of sometimes you just are talking to yourself, but even that is valuable, right? Because you kind of, as you said, you're able to look back. I know sometimes we post things and no one comments on it, but months later, one person comments and it starts, and 3 or 4 people start commenting on something that you put out there in social, a few months back. So even that has its own value. So that's one good takeaway for me.
Yes, you send a message to yourself in the future, right?
Yeah. It's like put a message in a bottle, right?
That's interesting.
So thank you very much, Rafael.
Thank you very much for
you turning up.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I enjoy very much. Also, you can find here my Twitter account. So feel free, please, to if you have any question, send me by my Twitter, my mail. Also, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. So maybe next year we can have the same conversation, and we already have a cluster of Cisco employees. Thank you.
Could you send through your presentation deck, please? That would be great.
Yeah, I will send you.
Get that on WebEx.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.